Seventh graders, how you doing? It's Mr. Berardo again. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Civil War and some of the leaders, and we're going to actually talk about the first battle. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to make you watch a video that's about an hour long or so when we start talking about, or when you get into your assignment. So, obviously, hopefully you know who this person is. This is Abraham Lincoln. Okay, Abraham Lincoln really wasn't much of a success in his life until he actually ran and won and he won the presidency. He was a lawyer. He was a folksy person. He had a lot of stories. He angered a lot of people, and he made a lot of people happy. Probably the reason why the Civil War, or the final straw that made the Civil War happen. But he is going to be an inexperienced leader. But as time goes on, he's actually really going to become one of our better leaders and one of our best presidents ever. This is a man named Jefferson Davis. Jefferson Davis was the president of the Confederacy. He's a graduate of West Point. He was the Secretary of War, and he was a fairly strong-willed person. He was from Georgia, I believe. So these are your two guys: President of the United States, the Union, President of the Confederacy. Okay? These are some of our generals that we're going to see. Arguably the greatest general in American history. Ulysses S. Grant. This is Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee is a person from Virginia. He is the commander of the Army of Northern Virginia. So, I'm sorry, the Northern Army of Virginia. He is the guy who keeps it together for the Confederacy. He is the glue that makes everything work for the Confederacy. Without this guy, it's not going to be so great for the Confederates. This is his right-hand man. This is General Thomas Stonewall Jackson. You will figure out why he is called Stonewall when you watch the video that I'm going to make you watch. He is not going to survive the war. He will. He won't. Those are your two biggest Union generals. There's other ones. There's a whole bunch more. These are probably arguably our best ones. Lee is from Virginia. He actually owns land in Washington, D.C. The land that he owns will become Arlington National Cemetery. His mansion is still in Arlington National Cemetery. Actually, if you go to Washington, D.C. next year, if we go to Washington, D.C. next year, if who knows what's going on next year. But you can stand on his front porch, you can see everything out, and it's really cool. You can see all of Washington, D.C. laid out before you. It's a pretty awesome sight. It's a really, really nice place to visit. He is from Virginia. He is going to be asked by President Lincoln to be commander of the Union forces, and he turns Lincoln down. He pretty much says, I cannot let you make me command forces that when you're going to have to march through Virginia to go against my state, my Virginians. He believes in something called sectionalism as opposed to the United States as a whole. And you're going to have to look that up and tell me what that is as we go through, okay? Again, arguably the best general in American history. I've read a bunch of different books, and some of the things that he did are just amazing. How with almost no food, almost no supplies, almost no men in reality who were capable of fighting, kept the Union forces from doing more damage or doing him in. Okay? Thomas Stonewall Jackson was an artillery expert. Like I said, he is Lee's right-hand man. Those two guys, if they could have survived, they would have been a very formidable duo for a long, long time, and who knows what would have happened. Okay? Our Union generals. This is General George McClellan. He is going to be the commander of the Northern Army of the Potomac at the start of the war. Like I said, and when we talked about the strengths and weaknesses of both sides, the better generals were on the Confederate side. He's not that great of a general. He's very pompous. He's a very braggadocious guy. He thinks he's better than he actually is. He is going to just bide his time. He's going to wait. He's going to just wait, and he's going to wait, and he's never going to do anything. Lincoln is just going to basically get really annoyed at him. He's going to fire him. At one point, Lincoln's quoted as saying, if McClellan is not going to use the Army of the Potomac, may I borrow it to use? And being that Abraham Lincoln is his boss, he could fire him, so he does. McClellan will actually run against Abraham Lincoln for the presidency in 1864 and lose. Anyway, this is Ulysses S. Grant. Ulysses S. Grant is a very interesting character. Not that successful in life before. He's run a couple businesses and he doesn't really do that great. His businesses actually go out of business, and he will eventually go back into the military and he will lead the army. He'll take total command of the Union Army. Mrs. Lincoln, Mary Todd Lincoln, will call him a butcher because so many people get killed under his command. But hey, that's part of the way the war gets fought, and it's a really, really horrible, horrible thing. He's going to fight with the army, and Abraham Lincoln's going to really love him. He's a bit of a drunk. He likes to drink a lot, and people make fun of Lincoln, and Lincoln's advisors basically say, why are you having this guy lead you? You know, he's actually known to throw up on himself during different things. And the people say, all he does is drink. And well, Lincoln pretty much says, well, find out what he drinks. And everybody says, why? And he goes, because I'm going to buy it for all my generals, because this guy actually fights. This guy actually wins. He does what he's supposed to do. Other generals, this is Philip Sheridan. He will pretty much destroy most of Northern Virginia later on. And this is my favorite general of all time. I love him. He is the best.
It's your profile picture.
He's the best. All right. This is William Tecumseh Sherman. William Tecumseh Sherman pretty much creates strategies for urban warfare that we still use to this very day in the Civil War. Going house to house, town to town. He does so much cool stuff, and we'll talk about him later on. And I'm going to make you watch a video on him because I love him. He's so awesome.
For your profile picture, your head is on his body.
In the profile picture for my YouTube channel, my face is on his body. I love William Sherman. He's my favorite. I actually have a t-shirt that I will wear when we start talking about him because he is so awesome. Death, destruction, murder, and actually a lot of caring about his men. He's really cool. These guys, Grant, Sherman, and Sheridan, really don't come into play until about 1863. And the tide of the war really, really changes by that point. Okay? Our strategies for victory, the Union has a couple different things. We have the Anaconda Plan. We have capture Richmond, Virginia, which is the capital of the Confederacy, and control the Mississippi River. Seems pretty easy, 3 things. Anaconda Plan, we're going to take our ships, and we're going to pretty much, and if I had the map here, just imagine the map of the United States where New York would be up here and Florida would be down here. We're going to take our ships, and we're going to put them all the way down, and we're going to go into the Gulf of Mexico, and our ships are going to have a blockade. We're not going to let anybody in. We're not going to let anybody out, and that's what it does, and that's what it is. You know what an anaconda is, hopefully, and you should know how an anaconda kills its prey. This is why it's called the Anaconda Plan. That's going to be part of your questions for your homework, so that's what I want you to know. Richmond, Virginia is the capital of the Confederacy. We're going to stop that. And gaining control of the Mississippi River. The idea behind that is we split the Confederacy in 2. We take care of the stuff on the eastern side, or the east coast to the Mississippi River, and we just kind of let the other one go and take care of them at a later date. That's it. You ready for the whole lot of stuff that the Confederacy is going to do? There's a lot, so just be patient. That's it. They're going to fight a defensive war. A little sarcasm, a little joke, a little joke. Anyway, they're going to fight a defensive war. Pretty much like we did during the American Revolution. We're going to let the war come, they're going to let the war come to them. And then basically what they're going to say is sooner or later, the Union's mothers, daughters, fathers, sons are going to get upset that their husbands and their sons and their brothers are coming home in caskets and they're dying. And the morale is going to be so low that they're not going to really be able to take it anymore, and they'll just give the Confederacy their due and let them become a country. Lincoln's not that way. They really underestimate Abraham Lincoln. Okay? And this will be our last slide because I want you to watch something with this. First Battle of Bull Run, because there's actually going to be 2. It's the first major battle of the Civil War, and it's going to, the Union soldiers say, cool, we're going to go out and we're going to go capture Richmond, Virginia. Yes, the war is going to be over. It's not going to be that big a deal. We have people from Washington, D.C. going out, riding into the hilltops, taking picnics, and just ready to sit down and watch the battle happen, watch the Union forces go out there and stomp on the Confederacy and kick those rebels' butts. They think it's going to be a quick and easy victory. Unfortunately, the Confederates are much more organized. They are much better prepared than the Union gives them credit for. And an unorganized Union retreat and a whole lot of other stuff happens. And I have you watching a video that's going to try and explain this to you. But the Union soldiers are so scared and petrified that they kind of run away. And as they're running away, they are dropping guns, and they're leaving cannons behind, and they're leaving food behind, and any supplies that they have are just getting dropped off because they're petrified, and they're running back all the way to Washington, D.C. The Confederates are going to pick up this stuff, and it's really a huge setback. And what this does is it really shows people that the war is going to be a long thing. Okay? That's pretty much it for this lesson. Unfortunately, today we got the news that our school we will not be seeing each other face to face, and you won't be able to see my loving face anymore until next year. So, if you need to get in touch with me, message me through Teams, send me an email, and other than that, I think we're good. I will talk to you soon. Message me. Complete sentences in your homework. I see everything. I see when you view it. So if you view it, say, I didn't look at it. I can see that. Everything's timestamped. So you say, I did it. And I say, no, you didn't. And you say, yes, I did. And it's timestamped for like 3 days later. I was right. You were wrong. Do your homework. Do your stuff. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday, Wednesday. So I'll talk to you soon.